Well, the highly anticipated post-COVID protocol press conference by one Kirk Cousins officially happened today, and I figured I'd kind of start things off a little bit with my reaction to his press conference because, well, just trust me.
I've had 6 negative tests since I was last with Kellen. Don't have any symptoms, so I don't have COVID. I've been feeling good, so very grateful for that. Last time I was in a room with Kellen was 6 days ago. And I've come to learn since I've been at home that the tracers we wear actually showed I was not a close contact, as I understand being a close contact, which is within a certain number of feet. The challenge was the meeting room we met in was deemed to be too small for us to.
You see, I listened to this press conference right away first, and at first I heard this and I'm like, so, I mean, I'm not saying that it's, BS or it's true or whatever, but so you got dinged for being in a small room. Buddy, I'm in tons of small rooms. I work in places that, I basically, for lack of a better term, work in like a house-like setting, where that's literally all it is like living rooms and kitchens and, stuff like that. So, but anyway, let's just
have been in a room together, even if we were significantly apart from each other. So we've since moved to a different meeting room. And as I understand it, had we met in a larger room, I would not have missed practice because I was not a close contact as deemed by actually being in contact. And that's why I believe I didn't have COVID, after being in a meeting room like that, because the mask and the social distancing works. Now we look forward to the degree that, you test positive for the virus, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can't play in a game. You can't play in a game with COVID, regardless of your vaccination status.
No, really. I would have never guessed, Kirk. I'll tell you what, this is turning more and more into like a fuck it, let's just start Jake Browning the whole year and go like 2-15 and get a new quarterback and just start over. Anyway.
So the key will be not being a close contact. That will be the focus, and we have to be very vigilant to make sure that does not happen, which is why moving to a...
Well, no, duh, the point is not to be in close contact. Like I say, I'm not a Kirk Cousins apologist. I'm not a Kirk Cousins stan. I don't just shit on Kirk Cousins just to shit on Kirk Cousins here, but... Oh, man. Yeah, it continues.
Larger meeting room is work, and so I'm going to maximize every hour I have, whether I'm at the facility or at home.
Kirk, a lot of people are saying that as the quarterback, perhaps the most important player in the team, with this happening, that you should be vaccinated. Are you giving consideration to being vaccinated?
I think the vaccination decision is a private, very private health matter for me, and I'm going to keep it as such.
I mean, to be fair, yes, I agree with you on that part, but it's just like, again, if it's not one thing, it's another with Kirk. It's just, it's super frustrating at this point as a Vikings fan. Like, anyway, I'll just continue on here.
I do believe that as a leader of the team, it's very important to follow the protocols to avoid this close contact, because that is what it's going to come down to, is did you have a close contact? And so I'm going to be vigilant.
Well, no, duh, again. But that's not going to be that easy, Kirk. You're going to be around people 24/7. Like, like I say, this has nothing to do with pro-vax, anti-vax, whatever the case might be. It's just... Anyway, back to a little bit more of this here.
About avoiding a close contact. I've even thought about, should I just set up literally plexiglass around where I sit so that this could never happen again?
Yeah, like that's gonna fucking do anything. Like that's gonna do anything, Kirk. I mean, it might help. I'm not gonna say that here, but... It's... These guys are just... Anyway.
I thought about it, because I'm going to do whatever it takes.
There's not a backup behind you that really should play. So how do you weigh that? Because,
You don't have to go through all the details of whatever decision that you've come.
stay away from people. But the reality is, this thing right now is catching like wildfire.
And like I say, listening to Judd Zolgad there, I kind of agree with him on that, even though, again, well, I don't always agree with all the things the Vikings, pundits say there, but it's just like, again, with his short answers and just he's basically telling everybody to fuck off. Literally is what he's saying by his body language. And this isn't my fault. Bitch, at some point, you've got to take on responsibility. This is bigger than you. No matter what your religion is. No matter what you believe in. Because there's tons of other people involved with this here. And like I say, it's just... Anyway, we're just about done with the press conference here. Then I'll kind of give some closing thoughts, but... Yeah.
I just don't know how you can be
Very vigilant with the protocols.
Understanding that it is a private matter and you don't have to go through all the details of whatever decision that you've come to, has it at least impacted your thinking having missed practice for 4 days?
I'm taking into account everything that's happening and very much doing my research and trying to understand, why I missed and then how to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I mean, understandable there. I get that too, because again, this thing has been a fluid situation since April of last year, but I don't know. It's just... Again, frustration is the best thing I can say here.
Zimmer's been pretty perturbed and frustrated just with a lot of people on this team who have not received the vaccine. How do you feel about your coach being as outspoken as he is? And I know you said you had a conversation with him. What has his message been to you about the situation that the quarterback room has been in and could potentially face again?
We had a tremendous conversation last night. Great dialogue. And, I'll leave my discussion with him. But it was a very, very positive discussion. Came away feeling great.
Nah, that's not what I heard from that. But anyway, okay.
spy now then between you and Zimmer?
Absolutely.
So he's
Again, I'll believe that when I see it.
said that you don't believe in protocols a couple of days ago. Can you elaborate on that? Like, are you following them and you don't believe in them, or what's your belief there?
I very much believe in the protocols. Yeah.
You talked about being more vigilant about the close contact stuff. Having to sit out 5 days in training camp, was there a little bit of an alarm, like what could this be like in the regular season? Like, you knew what the protocols were last year, but you didn't have to sit out until now. Did that change the thinking a little bit?
I'm very aware of, what the protocols are, what the consequences are. And these protocols are a fluid situation, as so much of this COVID period of time has been. We got an email yesterday that basically said, we're looking at changing the protocols. So there's very much a move.
Okay, and again, as I just mentioned probably about 3 or 4 minutes ago, it is a fluid situation. It is constantly changing. I mean, that's everywhere, at work, at home, at, any public place, but it's just like, again, it's... So far, I've not been a huge fan of his answers here. And like I say, I'm not just trying to shit on Kirk Cousins here, but it's just like,
moving target. It's hard to say right now in early August.
You mentioned that you wanted to do some additional research, that you thought some more about it over the summer. How much in contact with Dr. Alan Sills have you been?
I've never talked with Dr. Alan Sills personally.
You believe enough in those protocols?
By the way, at least according to what I heard from like various Vikings pundits and Vikings pages, Dr. Alan Sills is the one that's been dealing with the coronavirus, COVID-19 stuff. And, that was probably the biggest part that kind of got to me. It's like, so they have this doctor that comes in to talk to you about what's going on. Again, you don't have to get the shot, you don't have to get whatever, At the end of the day, your body, your choice. But you also have to understand that you are the quarterback of this team. You are one of the most important pieces on this team. And again, personal beliefs aside, whatever, you are a part of this team, and a major part at that. So, anyway.
Do you think you can follow this close enough to dodge these bullets for 18 weeks in playoffs?
Well, the protocols work. Masks work. Social distancing works.
And again, Kirk, you don't always have that fucking luxury. It's like, I mean, yeah, they work. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like, again, 53 teammates, 53 including you, coaches, fans, other players from other teams. This sport is very physical. I don't know if you've noticed, but football is kind of a physical sport, as I've mentioned before. But it's just like, again. Anyway.
And,
Is this a potential issue for a competitive situation, since the NFL average seems to be around 90%?
I'm not aware of our current percentages. I think it's a fluid situation. I think it's changing daily to, potentially contract the virus. And just understand, who you're around, and understanding that,
Close contact in practice, 2.5 hour practice.
As it's been explained to me, and I'm still learning, but the time outside does not count.
Now, that one gets me a little bit. Now, I understand, outside is probably a little bit different. But still, it's just... Anyway. It's... Alrighty, so basically, to wrap up sort of what I was listening to and following along and giving you my personal thoughts and opinions on this... Get ready, because this could be an absolute shit show. Because, of fucking course. It can never be a just overall easy year. It can never be easy, can it? It can never be easy with this team. And all I know is, I have a feeling regardless of this season, no matter what happens, unless Kirk wins us the Super Bowl, which, don't get me wrong, I would gladly take. I mean, as a Vikings fan, please just, I don't even care if we have like a Trent Dilfer situation with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, hell, even Brad Johnson, former Vikings quarterback Brad Johnson, won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. I mean, granted, he wasn't a horrible quarterback per se, but he definitely wasn't a top 5, Granted, both of those teams had awesome, literally historic defenses, too, that basically helped carry them through. But, So basically, to wrap this up, Kirk, I'm just going to say this now. Your time in Minnesota will be met with a lot of things, a lot of, questions, and just... I mean, you've done a lot of good things for Minnesota. I'm not going to, try to gloss over the fact that he has had some big moments with the Vikings. But I'm also not going to sugarcoat it here and say that, you're the best thing we've ever had, because no. But it's just, from everything that I've heard in these interviews, everything that I've heard from this, basically it's spelling the end. Which, honestly, might be a good thing. Just because, again, well, going back to 2018, when we signed him to those contracts and all the money that we've given him, well, yeah, I had a feeling that, I was a little uncomfortable with that just because, again, even with his time in Washington, yeah, he had flashes of excellence, but it was never sustained. And it's just... yeah. So, like I say, this will just be a fluid situation here, but with that said, if you and a few other players end up getting this before a game day, just know that coming from a fan's perspective, I mean, this could really drive away some fans. Actually drive them away from being Vikings fans. Just because, again, there's a lot at stake here for this. Because this is a team that should compete. This has the workings of a team that should be top 10 in almost everything. Well, maybe defense aside, but like I say, when you retool the defense, though, I mean, even there, it should be better than it was last year. Well, God, I hope so. It really can't get much worse. But anyway. And then, as a fan here, the biggest thing that'll really drive me up a wall is, again, a lot of these, athletes don't understand or don't seem to fucking get this, but you're a millionaire. You make a lot of money. At the end of the day, the money doesn't really care, it doesn't mean anything to you, You get to go out there, sling a football around, and at the end of the day, make a buttload of money. But there are fans of this team that shell out their hard-earned money on merchandise, on jerseys, on hats, on tickets, on meet and greets, passes, you name it. And in some respects, $300, $400 is half a paycheck, if not more. And because of if one or two players get COVID and it shuts the game down for that week, and heaven forbid they can't get a refund, they're out, groceries, bills. This is, again, a very tricky situation. It'll be something to watch, but that's what pisses me off the most about this. It isn't the players. I mean, players come and go. It isn't if the Vikings stink on the field, because, well, God knows, we've had some pretty bad teams, but at least there, the shit happens on the field. At least they get to watch the games, and their hard-earned money does something. But it's like if they have to cancel the games, and the other teams don't get their money, the fans are out their money because, well, they cancel or forfeit the game, and they, if they can't get refunded for it, let's just say there could be a mass exodus here. But, yeah, now with all that said, hopefully this will be it for this. Hopefully I won't have to, make follow-ups to this, but this has been eating at me for a while now. Just because, again, there's a lot more at stake than just you and the team. There's tons of people around this situation that rely on you, that, help pay for you. So, but yeah. Well, I mean, granted, with all that said, football is on tonight. The Hall of Fame game, which I'll sure watch. And, yeah, like I say, next week sometime, look for me to make a little preview video and sort of what, I'm going to be looking for. Because, again, with preseason games, I'm not necessarily looking for wins and losses. It's just more, what do the players look like? What do the what position battles are being won? This, that, and the other thing. Just kind of seeing what the team looks like. And who's stepping up, who's falling behind, this, that, and the other thing. So until we meet again, this is Jacob, and buckle up, kids. This is going to be fun.